pedal aficionados, amp fans that want an amp and a pedal, and especially the fly riggers. Oh, you might be a fly rigger. I have the pleasure of showing you the Imperial preamp slash pedal slash IR loader slash whatever thing. Pedal platform, amp in a box thing. It's freaking awesome. I've been looking forward to this, actually, honestly, more than the related cousins, the IRX and IRD and IRJ, whatever, because even those are great and they sound phenomenal. They are meant to be kind of use it as it is, put an effect in it, and not necessarily as a platform and a vehicle to enable your whole board to go somewhere. But I've used the rhythm channel or clean channel in the Sky King by Tone King for ages, in hundreds, if not thousands of videos. It is the premier pedal platform if I've ever had one. And now that is available for about $5.99. Yeah, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Out of the box, we take it, and also the actual amp, because we're going to compare them.
Got my Tone King ready for the ride. Golden knob, she glows with pride. The Imperial lures, both big and small. Hits the heart, yeah, I hear the call. A pedal so fine, the road can't ignore. It bends the sound, opens up the door. Our loaders make it feel so alive. From the stereo loop, my songs arrive. Big amp still, the King shines so bright. From dusk till dawn, it holds the night. Imperial tones echo through the hills, both big and small. It's giving me chills. Strum my strings and stomp that floor. Through the valleys, can't ask for more. The road unwinds, the sound goes deep. Imperial love, in its arms I leave. Knobs keep spinning, the magic flows. In the shuffle of stars, the rhythm grows. Crystal clear with grit to glide. Tone so true, it feels justified. Big amp still, the King shines so bright. From dusk till dawn, it holds the night. Imperial tones echo through the hills, both big and small. It's giving me chills. Big amp still, the King shines so bright. From dusk till dawn, it holds the night. Imperial tones echo through the hills.
So before we run through everything, this is not a short video, folks. Get a coffee. This is a video for the people that actually possibly want to get one and need to know everything. And you will find out everything. So here's some product shots with some sounds. Okay, so that whistled, you wettled, you whistle, wet, you whistle. I don't know. Then, can you make music with this? Oh, fuck yeah. It just feels so real because it is real. It's not a modeler. I recorded this straight into Cubase with this little song.
out in the shed on a Saturday night, plugged in the wire, felt something right. Tone King Imperial, glowing warm and clear, a bridge to the heavens, right to my ears. 3 tubes blowing in the reverb's deep, with tremolo rocking, sings me to sleep. 2 channels calling, one clean, one wild, makes me feel fearless, makes me feel alive. Oh, metric proves better than Imperial tonight, and IR loader lighting up the night with stereo loops and MIDI commands. This tone's got the power of 1,000 hands. A knot for each passion, a switch for each tone, carving riffs from the air like carving from stone. XLR out, sends it straight to the crowd. This isn't just music, it's thunder loud. Hear that shimmer, let it carry you far. It's more than a pedal, it's a shooting star. Every note, every sound fills the room, making legends rise from the sonic moon. Oh, metric proves better than Imperial tonight, and IR loader lighting up the night with stereo loops and MIDI commands. This tone's got the power of 1,000 hands.
Okay, now we're gonna run it through everything. Let's look at it. Here it is. I see this as a clean platform, which is where it shines, but it can also drive and not too shabby. They say it gets you the British tones on the lead channel. Yeah, okay, meaning there's drive. Does it sound like a Marshall? I don't think so, but they're good drive sounds. They say it can be tweed and blackfacey. Can it? I don't know. I think it sounds like a Tone King Imperial, and that's what I wanted to sound like. So we have a volume, treble, and bass, no mids, which is fine. And this is where it's at, the attenuation. So all the Tone King amps have built-in attenuators, actually running, they're all the clicky, clicky, clicky attenuators. So on each clicky, you're actually running through a different discrete set of components, making it quieter. So these don't have master volumes. You're always cranking pre and power amp, you're always making it loud, and then there's a built-in attenuator making it quieter again. Therefore, you're getting a fully blown amp, but at the volume that you want. And they also take Fletcher-Munson curves into account, meaning at lower volumes, they retain more of the low-end frequencies than you would usually have because our ears don't hear linearly. How is it done here? Well, this doesn't have 2 preamp tubes like the other pedals from Boutique Amps Distribution. This has 3. And I don't really know if the 3rd tube is part of that circuit, but what's happening is there is actually a 0-watt power amp, which technically makes no sense. We want our power amps to have what it is. But there is a power amp in there that gets you the same behavior as the big amps, as the actual amps, when it comes to the attenuation. So they're attenuating a 0-watt power amp to have the same effects when you're using the attenuator. But there's, of course, no power amp in there and you cannot drive a cab. because you don't have a license to drive a cab. Humor. Okay, so that's what the attenuation does. See it as your master volume, but it's not. It's actually doing the same thing electronically that the attenuator does on the actual amps. Here we have the 3 different cabs for channel 1. You can, of course, change these. These are IRs that are preloaded. Comes with a lot of IRs from Tone King and whatever, own hammer. We'll look at it when we look at the software. But you can switch between those 3 for the clean channel. Lead channel, volume, tone, and mid bite, which is really cool. That really pushes those mids up for leads, or, just it's a different kind of approach to an EQ. 3 IRs and the attenuation again. You could put this in beautiful edge of breakup and then push it, but it actually generates quite a bit of gain itself. Then we have the reverb, top left there, with a dwell. So you can not just mix, but also determine how big it is, kind of. And the tremolo with depth and speed. Foot switches are kind of self-explanatory, and they make quite a bit of sense. Tremolo on-off, it gets memorized with the channel. Wait. So let's say it's on for channel 1 and both of them are off for channel 2. See? It memorizes it. So long hold is reverb, short press is tremolo. The long is not so long that it would be an issue. It absolutely works. Hit both to store what you currently set up, but that's only really the switches and the lights. The knobs do not get stored. Loop bypass, when you're holding that in, your effects loop is out. Would be nice to have a little light on that. And you can bypass the whole pedal, or when I hold this in, bypass the IR if you want to apply a different IR loader, post it, you want to record it dry. If you don't want the built-in IR, let's say you have an aux stomp pedal or something, you can run that. Why would you bypass the whole pedal if that's your amp? Play without an amp? Well, because once you go into bypass and you have the 4-cable method applied, you can wire in a different preamp and switch between the built-in preamps and the different preamp. The great thing is they actually paused this whole project, put it back into development to make sure that the built-in effects and the effects loop, which is stereo, is actually applied to the wired-in preamp. So I could take my Soldano amp, wire that thing in, and the effects, reverb and tremolo, and the effects in the loop are now also applied to the Soldano preamp. That's way cool. And I assume then the Soldano preamp, I haven't tested this, would then also go out of the XLR out. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Find out. So let's look in the back. It's quite a bit higher than the other ones. Yeah, more tubes and stuff. So we got input, send, and stereo return. Okay, at the bottom is 2 amp from, so that'll go into the amp input. From amp send to amp return is at the bottom there. So that's how you wire it up with the 4-cable method. And then next to it is the headphone out. And a little bit of room is applied to that, so it's more fun to play. There is the XLR out, which is killer. That's how you freaking do it. Ground lift. MIDI in, everything's fully MIDI switchable, big MIDI in. And USB-C. Awesome. That also allows you to play USB audio from your phone or computer into it and then jam with a jam track on the headphone out or the XLR out. So that's kind of cool. But then I said to Leo, who is one of the masterminds behind this, hey, why can't I run it as an audio interface? Because USB-C, because I could run it into my little DJI Pocket at a trade show and use it as my on-the-go recording amp. How cool would that be? Because it sounds phenomenal. And he said that should be possible and he might be working on that. So this might be or might not be, but it might be a future update, which would be super cool. Now, then you're going to say, but why do you want that? It needs 12 volt with the included power supply. How are you going to run that mobile? You can. It actually runs from 9 to 12 volt. It needs a bit of milliampage, but I tried it with a Chox 4 on a power bank, because the Chox 4 can be powered with a power bank, with the milliamp doubler cable, which is the gray one from Chox, and it runs off the grid with a power bank and a Chox 4, so you could have this in your backpack and run it into your laptop and record in the garden, on the plane, on the train, on the automobile, or at a trade show. Once, if maybe Leo gets that happening, which would be super cool because this thing is the real deal when it comes to sounds. I have not forgotten anything. I have not. In the setup here, we got this beat up Shabbat Puma icky guitar. Going into the Phil X PXO pedal from J Rocket, which has a boost and a very hot drive. So I'm going to show you how this can burn. Stereo effect, so mono in, stereo out, ultra tap from Eventide, one of my favorite delays, into this thing. But these come later. At the moment, and that's the great thing, I don't have to turn this off. The whole loop is disengaged here. So it's on, but we won't hear it. And that actually also can be MIDI switched. But again, we're going to go into the app later and I'll show you everything. This is a long video. So here we go. I did turn it off. It's a bit tough to see that it's off. See if you can spot it. So there's flashing dim light. And now the bit brighter constant light. Not the biggest, I'm off, I'm on. You know, maybe this could light up, maybe there could be a big light here, I don't know. A little bit more visual feedback would be nice. So here we are. This is it dry on the clean channel. And I'm going directly into the DAW. There's no amp involved. No cab involved. Of course, we want reverb on. And now it starts to live. So of course a digital reverb, but it sounds very nicely like a nice spring, yeah. Doesn't teach you how to play guitar. It's got drip. There we're starting to fuzz a bit. I just love it. With clean sounds like this, you can play all freaking day. Now, the tremolo is stereo. I'm not big on tremolo myself, but with this, I use it. I like using it because it's just musical. Now, wouldn't it be nice to know how close it sounds to the actual Imperial head with a 112, mic'd, nothing digital, just an amp and a cab and mics, and wouldn't that be nice? But wouldn't that completely explode the scope of a video like this and just go way too far? Let's go to my correspondent, Henning Pauli, in Studio C and see if he can help us there. Thank you, Henning, for this nice intro to me. So I am here with the Imperial Mark II head, missing some features of the pedal, obviously, like the extra loud and the IRs and blah, 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 but it's a freaking troop head. So let's explore rhythm channel and lead channel. In the back of this, as you can see, there is the attenuator, which you could bypass for the rhythm channel, which means the rhythm channel is going to blast full speed, and then it only attenuates the lead channel. We will use it for both channels, because otherwise it's going to be too loud. It does not have an effects loop, which makes the pedal kind of already a little bit superior. We're not going to run any pedals. I don't have another attenuator or load box on this. It's going straight into this beautiful Imperial cab, this time mic'd with a Sennheiser MD421 compact, slightly off center, and then the AEA R92 ribbon mic, more off center, and then, as always now, the AEA R88A stereo ribbon mic in the room. All three mixed together. Here we go. Rhythm channel with the same guitar that Henning has, which is weird. Why do we have two of these? Well, back to the pedal. Here we go. Let's crank the rhythm channel a bit. Henning, can we do that with the actual amp, please? Now, let's see, which is nothing that Henning can do over there, if we can put stereo effects on the loop and push that channel with the drive. So I'm going to go back here a little bit. Love that clean. Engage the effects loop. And turn the reverb off just to really clearly hear it. Reverb back on. Love it. And that works with obviously any kind of stereo effect or mono effect. So we're boosting this channel now. That works rather nicely. Take the gain back a bit. And now we're gonna crank that fill X pedal with the drive side. And the stereo effects. Never does it sound like you're playing anything digital or a model or whatever, because it ain't. You're just playing through IRs, which is totally fine. Now, when it comes to the clean channel of the Imperial, or the rhythm channel, I have used the Tone King Sky King on the clean rhythm channel for 6-7 years for hundreds of pedal videos as my main pedal platform amp. And I feel that that channel, which is the same that we have here, just with a little bit less watts, is the best pedal platform amp on the planet. Everyone says, this is the pedal platform amp, this is the pedal platform amp. No, this is it. It claims to be blackfacey, which I don't think it is, because it has more mids. It is warmer. It's not that mid-stuffed. It is an improved, better version of the blackface, I think. So turn that off. Turn these off. channel 2. Let's go to the 412, which is what this is. Let's, for reference, go to the actual amp heading, please. As you can see, I always go to the attenuator because I set up the channel the way that I like it in terms of sound, and then internally attenuate it, which is what these amps are known for. So great. Well, the Sky King has 2 individual attenuators, which is why it's also more pricey, and a slightly, I think, differently voiced lead channel, and more watts. Let's see how this sounds in comparison. So those are, as far as included sounds go, what it can do. It's already very nice. I mean, it's never going to be like your metal pedal. Now it's just blowing up and it's too much, which is cool for those classic sounds. blown kind of like a tweet sound, okay? Let's push it with the PX. Kind of the similar thing, it will blow up. There's quite a lot of sounds. Again, if you're looking for the metal preamp thing, I mean, you don't need stereo, you don't need a tremolo. This is rock and roll, this is clean, this is jazz, this is blues, this is worship, this is ambient. It's everything but this stuff. Very impressive. Henning, what do you think? Very flexible. Way more than just your pedal platform. I never knew. I always use rhythm channel and that's it. That's a great drive channel. This is a classic for a reason. Back to you, Henning. Okay, so I think we'll go to Henning in the office to have him have a good look at the software. Hi, so we're in the software now, which connects instantly pretty much when you connect the USB-C cable. And let me please point out that it needs to be pointed out that it is now USB-C versus the related pedals like the RX, IRD, and so on. This has a USB-C, which is just smaller, more convenient, more readily available in terms of cables. It makes a lot of sense, and it definitely shows that they're looking at the market. So, very clear message here, people. Anything that's a knob that gets twisted cannot be saved. It is not a fully digitally controlled analog pedal. It is an analog pedal with a digital back end, so the IR loader as well as kind of the power. Oh, it doesn't really have the power amp simulation the way that the other pedals have actually, because it's got kind of a little power amp built in with the third tube. But you see, I cannot turn these. So you cannot turn the knobs. The settings of the knobs cannot be remembered. However, the settings of the switches can be. So if I'm actually switching on my pedal, wait, you see, I can't actually switch it here, which is a bit weird. So if I'm switching the cab slot, it will change here. I can turn the pedal on and off. That can be saved. So all these switches, not knobs, can be saved with MIDI. So let's see, bypass, channel, back and forth. Sometimes the app likes to flicker when you do that, right? Reverb on and off can be saved and remembered. Tremolo on and off can be saved and remembered, as it is when you're switching between channels. So let's see, I've got the reverb on in channel 2, but we're going to have reverb and tremolo on in channel 1. And you see that changes. Loop bypass, there is no LED, which would probably be for a future product, boutique apps distribution, if you're hearing that, maybe have an LED for loop bypass. Just so that you have visual feedback, just a minor thing. And IR bypass can also be stored. And you can also do it on the pedal by holding bypass long. So these secondary functions are relatively easy. If you want reverb on and off, you just hold it. It's not a super long hold, so it's not something that I would really bitch about. You can set up MIDI channels up here. I have it in Omni, so it will respond to any MIDI commands. Reverb tails generally can be turned on for the pedal up here. And again, as far as connection goes, plug it in, it's right there. When I just plugged it in, it took a little bit to find the pedal, maybe 10 seconds. But what happened is, down here, maybe you can see, it jumped from firmware 3.5 to 3.7. So it will immediately, without even prompting you, update the pedal by connecting it to the app, which is brilliant. I mean, try to update any Boss product that requires 3 different pieces of software and many button presses and reboots, and here, plug it in, bam, it's automatically in the newest version. You don't even know that it happened. For the channels, rhythm as well as lead, you've got a high frequency compensation, and you can say how much it's compensating with 3 different settings right here, right? Whether that's on or off, and then the settings. And then there are the 3 IR slots, which of course you can switch on the pedal, and showing what that is, and it's showing you how to load new ones in. Either load up your own IR from some kind of place where you have your IRs, if you have your preferred IRs. But honestly, I would really just use the ones that are in there because they make a lot of sense. So we got a 112 Imperial, we got a 212 Class A Blue, and a 412 Basket Weave, whatever. For clean sounds, it is not that apparent, right? So we're going to go to channel 1, have the reverb on. I have this Saudi Conspiracy Series Trella in single coil on the neck pickup. It's an absolutely gorgeous sound. And there's absolutely not the faintest feel of digital going on because it's running through 3 tubes and the tiniest little power amp as far as I understand. I'm going to turn on a little overdrive that I have on the table, which is going to come out next week, and it's going to blow your mind. And that overdrive, interestingly, is also MIDI compatible with presets. And so the combination of those two means you could get all these different sounds from this dual overdrive into the Imperial, and then the Imperial on the 2 channels with and without the reverb. That's a fly rig made for any kind of blues and rock gig, if you ask me. So again, I can turn the tremolo on. So I now used that MIDI controllable overdrive to boost it. Holy hell! Nice. So I'm going through the IRs with drive on because of the extra harmonic content. You will hear the caps more clearly. Differences are subtle. Let's try the high frequency comp thing. We're going to turn that on, I think. Is that on? Yep, I think. So the main 112 Imperial TK 1660 is an own hammer IR. I'm going to turn Audition on down here, and now we can actually hear them. Again, that's a 112 bone hammer. So the low mids changed there on that one. It's all rather similar. That's a bit more open. All in the same vein, I would say. All very similar sounding cabs with, slight variations. But if you wanted to, have your thick ass metal sound, you'll have to load your own cab. These are all voiced for the Imperial, which makes a lot of sense to me. And you can just go through these right here, click this, put a different one of the included ones on there, or any of your own, and then have that on the pedal. Here's a MIDI continuous controller list of how you could control channel, loop, bypass, all the switches with continuous controllers if you wanted to do that instead of just saving presets. But of course, in terms of presets, you go to program change, whatever up here, put the settings on, save it, and then it's on that program change. Rather freaking simple. Quite a few things you can do in the app, and you probably do this once or twice and then have the pedal set up that way. And then you never have to go into it unless you wanted updates. But it's a very well working app, similar to the ones in the IRX, the Synergy stuff. It's all based on the same platform and it works really well and has a nice interface. Why wasn't that special? And now we're done and we make it big. And I'm going to tell you that this, for making videos on stereo pedals, insane. This with a power bank and a Chox 4 for mobile, insane. This as a fly rig solution, yes. I mean, again, it's been my go-to pedal platform sound for ages. Now, it's not $3,500 anymore, like the Sky King that I have, or I think 2,800 for the Imperial head, which you would still need a load box and IR loader for and all that stuff. And this is stereo. Unless you're, playing 8 strings into revs or whatever, this thing should be on a fly rig. And yes, it can be battery powered if you have the right power supplies. Wow. And you can, of course, wire it into your amp. So if your high gain amp has an effects loop, you could add that brilliant clean channel and those classic rocky sounds to your one channel high gain beast and have everything. The only thing I could fault it is I don't know that if that high pass thing is on or off in the app, and because you can't really see it, and Leo's gonna fix that. Done. This is a dream. I wish it came in turquoise. That I'm going to bitch about that. I think it should have been turquoise because that is kind of like the Markenzeichen, as we say in German, the trademark kind of color, and it should have been turquoise, people. But that's really, I can't find anything. This is amazing. If you made it until here, you're really in the market for this, and you should get it. I know it's $600, but boy, the sounds. So I'll put links below. Please use them. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Why haven't you subscribed? Please do it. It really matters. Please use the links. That really matters as well. And animals at the end.
Another lambing hits the ground. Another lambing hits the ground. Another lambing hits the ground. Another lambing hits the Ding dong, the bitch is dead. She died of an